Where do you see yourself in your career in 2 to 3 years?
In 2 to 3 years, I hope to be finishing up a nursing residency. I haven't accepted a position just yet, but I'm hoping to stay with my current hospital at Parkland. If accepted into the critical care internship, I'll be just about finishing up residency at the end of 3 years. From there, I'd like to continue on to get my master's and become a nurse practitioner. Education has been so important to me my whole life, and I just don't want to stop going to school anytime soon. So hopefully I'll be accepted into a master's program to get my advanced practitioner degree, and I can be practicing either in Texas or across the state.
What are your strengths? What about weaknesses?
For my strengths, I'd probably have to say that I always see things in a positive light and good communication. It's very easy when you're working in a hospital to see things in a negative manner and let that really affect you. But for me, I always try to put a positive spin on each and every situation. A lot of times when we have difficult patients on the floor, I kind of take it as a personal challenge and try to do anything I can to make them smile, even if they're having a bad day. It really helps my attitude as well as the patients to get through to the end of the day, just knowing that someone's out there that wants them to feel better and make them smile and make them laugh. And this effect kind of spreads to the rest of the team as well. Also, communication, I'd say, is one of my biggest strengths. I definitely believe in having direct, honest communication. I'm great at writing emails and just talking to people up front. I've never been one to be shy or embarrassed. I have a way of making it positive, but if there's an issue at hand, I want to address it head on, and I don't want anything to get swept under the rug. I definitely believe in tackling things as they come on and addressing it right away. As far as weaknesses, I definitely have to say people pleasing is one of my biggest weaknesses. I really do not like conflict and would do anything to make anyone smile and make them happy. So I am definitely working on becoming less of a people pleaser. Some examples are like at work when people ask me on my team to help out with their patients if they're going on a break or if they have something else going on. I like to just say yes right away, but in reality this hurts me because I have my own patients to take care of. Like the other day, my teammate asked me to help while she went on break, even though I already had a patient in the shower and someone else that wanted to get up and walk around the hall. So, of course, while I was helping them, her patient needed help getting out of the bathroom, and it was just a big mess. So I'm learning and working on saying no when I have to, just to help myself and my patients as well.
Talk to us about the value of teamwork. What did you do in your last job to contribute toward teamwork in an environment?
That's a really good question. So right now I work as a patient care assistant on a general surgery floor at Parkland Hospital, and teamwork is probably one of the biggest components of my position. So every day there's about five technicians on the floor and 8 or 9 nurses, but we all work together, even though we have our own individual patients. There's a lot of things that can't be done on the job just as an individual person. A big part of my position is when people, because they're coming back from surgery, and when people come back and they need to be up and ambulating around. And a lot of patients, we can't lift them up by ourselves. We definitely need a second person to get them up and get them moving to prevent any complications from their surgery. Same thing when people need turns. Some patients are heavier than others, and it requires 2, sometimes 3 or 4 of us to get a patient up and moving out of bed. Last week on the job, one of the nurses had a difficult and heavy patient that she needed to put a Foley in, and she was also on contact precautions. So even though it was a really busy day on the floor and we had people getting admitted and discharged left and right, the value of teamwork really shone when we all came together. About 5, I think there was 3 nurses and 2 technicians. We all came into the room, helped the nurse prepare the Foley insertion. We got the patient in position, got her cleaned, and got her in and out. If the nurse had to do that by herself, it probably would have taken her a good 20, 30 minutes, and it probably actually wouldn't have been possible to hold everything in position. But just knowing how much teamwork helps on our floor and working together as one, we can really get a lot accomplished. So I definitely believe in the power of teamwork and do everything I can to help out my fellow teammates.
Tell us about a situation in which you had to speak up or be assertive in order to advocate for a patient or idea or in order to get an important point across.
So right now, working as a patient care assistant, I actually do have to do a lot of advocating for my patients, even though you might think that's actually a nursing responsibility. For example, the other day I was assigned to be a one-to-one sitter for a patient on our floor. So when that happens, it's usually due to altered mental status, and as a technician, we have to be in the room with them the entire day for constant observation. This man had been on our floor for almost a month, and he didn't have the best reputation. He was very rude, very demanding, and really no one wanted to work with him. No one wanted to sit with him. So when it was my turn, I, to be honest, wasn't too excited to be spending 12 hours locked in the room with this man. But like I said earlier, one of my biggest things at work is to take any challenge and turn it into something positive. So I made it my mission to get on his good side and get him to smile. So at the beginning of the day, he didn't want to talk to me. He didn't want to look at me. You know, everything was get away, cursing, wasn't very nice. But I was pretty persistent, and by the middle of the shift, he actually kind of opened up a little bit, and we were joking, even though he was just diagnosed with rectal cancer and got a colostomy inserted. So he was okay with me, but he still was pretty rude to the rest of the nursing staff. But towards the end of the day, he began to complain of a lot of pain. Mind you, he had done this throughout the month he'd been there, always wanted pain medicine. But so that day, he hit the call light a couple times asking for pain medicine, and the nurse kind of ignored him and said, "We already gave it to you, you're fine." But because he trusted me and opened up to me, I could really tell that something was wrong with him, and he wasn't just being rude or demanding or needing any pain medication. He really needed help. So when the nurse ignored him again, I took it upon myself to call the nurse and ask her to come in and check him out. And so she finally did after hearing my concern. He checked his colostomy, and it turned out that there actually was something wrong with his new, the bag that was on him, and he actually really needed medical attention and was in severe pain. So because of that, and my advocacy for the patient, I got him what he needed to get his pain under control. It was pretty eye-opening, but also kind of sad to see that some nurses can get so jaded that they ignore the patients and their cries for pain. So it was definitely inspirational to me. I never want to be a nurse that just pushes people to the side. I always do want to listen to their concerns. And hopefully one day I'll have good techs that advocate for their patients as well.